And Crowley was a Satanist, though that suggests little understanding of the occult. Crowley was a magician, but not a devil worshipper, at least in the conventional sense. However, Crowley's magic was far from the play magic of David Blaine. His interests were not in illusions, but in unlocking dimensions, conversing with angels, and summoning demons. Crowley was a former member of the Golden Dawn Society, a group founded by Samuel Little McGregor Mathers toward the turn of the 20th century. The society was a secret one, akin to the Freemasons. The group claimed to have access to secret magical Egyptian knowledge. The Golden Dawn's intentions were not evil. In fact, the society wanted humanity to rise to higher levels of consciousness and awareness. They wanted the world to wake up. One member of the Golden Dawn was famed Irish poet William Butler Yeats. Another was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, a medical doctor and author of Sherlock Holmes. Crowley was supposedly responsible for tearing the group apart through bitter infighting. Many of the Golden Dawn's leadership considered Crowley's form of magic to be self-centered and selfish, a sentiment he would later embrace with his "do what thou wilt" credo. After the Golden Dawn split, Crowley founded his own secret society, Ordo Templi Orientis, also known as OTO. The organization's religious headquarters was in Cefalu, Sicily. Crowley's life was spent in orgies and the consumption of copious amounts of drugs. Regardless, he never abandoned his commitment to esoteric magic and continued to mystify and allure his followers long after his death. In fact, he is said to have been the inspiration for L. Ron Hubbard's Scientology. Crowley was a well-cultured, educated, and clever man. He was also selfish, domineering, and cruel. It was his cruelty that, in the end, pushed people away from him. By the time of his death, Crowley had only a few followers. He died in a boarding house in Hastings, England. His last words, according to a friend, were, "Sometimes I hate myself." It was not Crowley's life that was particularly remarkable to the teenagers of the 1960s, with whom he became an icon, but rather his "do what thou wilt" credo. Musicians, beatniks, and rebels began to live according to this phrase. Ultimately, what Aleister Crowley and his teachings stood for was the rejection of society, self-gratification, and the pursuing of one's desires, however depraved and however abstract. It was this attitude that spurred the 60s countercultural revolution. Young people became emboldened, courageous, and were finally able to enjoy themselves through sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So the occult was fashionable, most certainly. But with all types of fashion, we find people who take them much more seriously than others. One such person was Jimmy Page, who came, in a way, to almost worship Crowley, going as far as to join his organization, OTO, where he has remained a member for nearly 50 years.